From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, President Buhari congratulates candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ademola Adeleke, over victory in Saturday's gubernatorial election in Osun. Former NBA chairman calls for a special court to handle banditry cases in Zamfara. NDLEA nabs 27-year-old drug queen with narcotics in Lagos. And on the foreign scene, all 8 crew killed in cargo plane crash in Greece. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Apologies for bringing you the news late. It was due to some technical difficulties. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has directed all security agencies to expedite action in rescuing kidnapped persons, saying his administration is leaving no stone unturned in arresting the security situation in the state. The governor made this known through the secretary to the state government, Ahmed Ibrahim Matani, during a sympathy visit to General Idris Garba, whose family members were kidnapped in the Abuja-Kaduna terrorist train attack. Idris Garba was the former governor of Benue and Kano states and the chairman Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University Lapai Governing Council. His son Abubakar Idris Garba, his wife Mariam Bobo and 4 children were abducted from the train during the incident. The governor lamented the incessant insecurity in the state where several people had been maimed and killed with many others abducted. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ademola Adeleke, following the victory of the party in Saturday's gubernatorial election in Osun State. The president's congratulatory message is contained in a statement by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, on Sunday in Abuja. Buhari expressed conviction that with the election over, the people of Osun have expressed their will through the ballot, and the will of the people must always matter and be respected in a democracy. According to him, the successful conduct of the election is a further testimony to the maturity and commitment of all stakeholders. The electoral body, security agencies, political parties, the media, civil society and the electorate to further strengthen the integrity of the electoral process in the country. Buhari reassured the nation that the commitment of his administration towards having credible elections remain unshaken. People's Democratic Party PDP 2023 presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has said with his party's victory in Osun State, the march to reclaim Nigeria's greatness has begun. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, early on Sunday declared the PDP candidate Ademola Adeleke, who scored 403,371 votes, winner. The runner-up was the incumbent governor, Boyega Oyetola of the All Progressive Congress, APC, who polled 375,027 votes. Atiku, in a statement on Sunday, said he had affection for the people of Osun State for obvious reasons. He said no matter how difficult a situation is, men and women of courage and astute valor in Osun State will never be a disappointment. Atiku Abubakar further noted that at this point, when our country needs to take a break from the shameful effects of bad governance, it shall be on record that Osun State provided the compass into that bright future that awaits us at the horizon. The statement partly read, the referendum on the administration of the APC has commenced with the verdict of the people of Osun State in electing Senator Ademola Adeleke, while we know that the 2023 general election will be a full referendum. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Ademola Adeleke, the winner of the Osun governorship election. Returning officer for the election and Vice-Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, announced that Adeleke got a total of 403,371 votes, beating the incumbent Adegboyega Oyetola of the All Progressive Congress, who got 375,027 votes in a keenly contested race. According to the total votes recorded by the electoral umpire, the PDP won 17 of the 30 local government areas of the state, while the APC won the remaining 13.
I, Oluwatoyin Temitayo Ogundipe, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2022 governorship elections, which was held on the 6th day of July 2022. Having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner, and he is returned. Thank you very much.
That was Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundupe, the returning officer for the July 16 governorship election in Osun State, declaring the winner of the Saturday election, that is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Ademola Adeleke, who polled 403,371 votes to defeat the incumbent governor of the state, Adeboyega Oyetola, of the APC, who garnered 375,027 votes. This was sequel to the collation of results from the returning officers from the 30 local government areas of Osun State, who, presented the results here, in the presence of all stakeholders. With the declaration and, of course, the returning of Ademola Adeleke of the PDP, is now the confirmed and official winner of the Saturday's governorship election in Osun State. Before the announcement of the results, part of the reports submitted by the returning officers from the local government areas of the state indicates there were pockets of violence that were witnessed in some local government areas. There are also cases of ballot snatching and, of course, discrepancies in the result of the election. From the Coalition Center, the Osun State Governorship Election Coalition Center here in Ochobo, the Osun State capital, Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News.
And former Senate President Bukola Saraki says Ademola Adeleke's victory has reclaimed the stolen mandate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. In a statement released on his social media handle, Saraki emphasized that after the inexplicable loss in 2018, Adeleke demonstrated leadership by working to build stronger coalition across the state and the nation in order to ensure that the PDP remained the most popular party in the state and emerged victorious 4 years later. The former Senate President also described the incoming Osun State Governor as the leader that Osun needs at this crucial time, while also commending the work of the PDP's polling unit agents who worked for the success of the party. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is, through its inclusivity drive, paying special attention to the aged and persons with disability in a bid to make it easy for them to partake in electoral processes. In this report, Trust TV's Hamid Oyegwadi interacted with this category of voters while participating in the just concluded governorship election in Osun State. His report is presented from our studio.
Elections are a major component of genuine democratic settings, and all citizens are expected to partake in the process. Over the years, persons with disabilities and the aged have limited access to the democratic processes because conditions have not been made conducive for them to participate. Globally, 1 billion people experience some form of disability. This accounts for 15% of the world's population. This figure is too huge to be ignored. This is why the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has adopted reforms that will make the electoral process more accessible to persons with disabilities and the aged in Osun State. These reforms were evident at various locations. At Ward 4, Unit 2, Temidire in Ibodi. At Akumosu West Local Government, Alamu Opeyemi was excited because he had voted without hindrance. He said INEC officials made it easy for him to cast his vote. I voted without stress. It was easy for me. I felt the disability for. Let me express my joy now. Also at Ward 8, Unit 1, Isere Ifofun, Elisha East, Local Government, Fataye Abioye who is on wheelchair, said he enjoyed priority voting and that he was happy that he was allowed to vote immediately he got to the polling center. At Ward 5, Unit 5, Osain in Ilesha West, there was massive turnout of voters and the process went smoothly. Aged men and women came out earlier and sat patiently while waiting for INEC officials to commence the voting. They expressed joy that they were still alive to witness another election. All we want is peaceful election at all time. We don't want trouble. We want peace for Osun State.
We want the best out of this election. We don't want violence. We want peace. God will make it easy for us. We thank God for sparing our lives to witness this election. We are happy to come out for the election. It's our civic responsibility. We want peaceful election. We want our people to be peaceful and shun violence.
At Ward 10, Unit 6, Oro Ajimoko Primary School, Oroba in Ilesha Town, young girls who just clocked 18 were happy to vote for the first time. This inclusivity, no doubt, will promote sense of belongings in the nation's electoral system as INEC keeps improving in its push to ensure free, fair, and credible elections going forward.
Meanwhile, stakeholders in Osun State are in agreement that the just concluded governorship elections in Osun State were credible. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbadi spoke to some political actors in the state, and his report is presented from our studio. That report in our subsequent bulletin. Moving on to other news now. The New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, is re-strategizing to wrestle power from the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in Katsina State. NNPP chairman in Katsina State, Sani Enkwani, revealed this while briefing newsmen shortly after a meeting with the party's candidates. Abdullahi Yamadi has details.
Many Nigerians are blaming the APC government at all levels for the crippling economic hardship being experienced in the country. The New Nigeria People's Party is not mincing words. It is holding the ruling party responsible for disunity among the people and for institutional failure. But beyond that, the NNPP is emphatic that APC cannot escape blame for the thousands of people who have lost their lives as a result of terrorism. And what about the millions of Nigerians in abject poverty, hundreds of thousands displaced families, and the many victims who are in the custody of terrorists?
Nigerians and our people in the state are facing a very serious, if not disastrous, situations of no security, no employment, no economy at all. Things has gone bad, and the center cannot hold. The center cannot control anything. All our structures has collapsed. I don't know. The people in authority are only moving under the protection of our armed forces, who are supposed to protect and defend our constitution, while the citizens are suffering under the occupation of notorious Boko Haram and bandits. We are in trouble. We need help.
The NNPP state chairman asserts that Nigerians have a responsibility to reject leaders who are not concerned about their plight. Yankwani makes bold to say that President Muhammadu Buhari has lost direction because of his incompetence. All is not well in the country.
A person who is very close to Mr. President coming out to say that we are ready, or we want to tamper with the constitutional provision. We want to tamper with relevant laws. And most Nigerians are looking at him as if it is a joke. It is not a joke. It's a very serious and heavy statement, which must be challenged by all Nigerians. It means a lot He is just telling Nigerians that constitution will be tampered with, our laws will be tampered with because of his interest, the interest of those people who surrounded Mr. President.
The NNPP has vowed to continue to pressurize the federal government to respect the rule of law and do all that is needful as enshrined in the constitution of the country. Yankwani is adamant that the party under his watch will not accept anything short of what is provided for in the Nigerian constitution that will make democracy and its institutions progress. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And now to our earlier Osun State story. Stakeholders in Osun State are in agreement that the just concluded governorship elections in the state were credible. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbadi spoke to some political actors in the state, and his report is presented from our studio.
As early as 7 a.m. on Saturday, residents came out to partake in the election. Officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission and operatives of security agencies were also on hand to effectively midwife the political process. The electoral body continued to implement unique innovations that would make the elections more credible, including the deployment of bimodal voter accreditation system and the election results portal. The novelties introduced by INEC and the efficiency of officials of the commission have been commended by top personalities in the state.
Well, you can see that this election, there's a massive turnout, appreciable turnout reasonably, and that shows that the people are willing to vote, they're enthusiastic, and that makes the election credible. The atmosphere is peaceful. Nobody is being coerced or forced to vote particular party, particular interest. So that shows neutrality and that shows the encouragement of democracy.
I commend INEC for a well-planned, well-laid-out procedure. Their personnel were here on time. They commenced this exercise on time, and so far they are doing very well.
The Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly confirmed that the BVOS machine worked perfectly.
It's impressive, highly impressive. It's like that of, there is a little bit improvement in the number, in the way and manner in which people, in which electorate turn out compared to that of 2018. And if you look at the way and manner in which the electorate has comport themselves, we agree with me that they are behaving normally and notice orderliness in what they are doing.
Former Minister of Defense, Mrs. Olushola Obada, also expressed satisfaction with the efforts of INEC to ensure credible election.
I want to commend the officials, INEC officials, even the security people who are around today, even the voters. Everything has been very orderly, and incredibly, the process has been very smooth, no hitches whatsoever, and it's surprising that this process adopted has quickened the voting episode,
Election monitors had observed that during the elections, the bimodal voters accreditation system functioned properly in 92% of polling units. However, in 7% of polling units, the BVOS malfunctioned and it was fixed, while in 1% of the polling units, it malfunctioned and was replaced.
And now we have joining us via telephone Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst, to discuss the Osun elections. Mr. Jide, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. So with the Osun elections recently concluded and the victory of the People's Democratic Party in that election, what sort of signals is that throwing up right now?
Well, the signal is that anything can happen in 2023. Don't forget that PDP has been trying to claw back his way to the center, and this is a very good morale booster for the People's Democratic Party. Being the last off-season governorship election that will be held ahead of the 2023 general election. So it's a plus for PDP, it's a minus for APC. Well, that in politics, just like in football, anything can happen. One cannot be too complacent and say, oh, it's a foregone conclusion, this party will win, or that there's anything called.
Your account is low. Please recharge as soon as possible. Or dial.
All right, well, we seem to have lost that call. We'll try and reconnect with Mr. Jides to give us more insights on the Osun election. Now, residents of Zamfara State have been advised to use the remaining 2-week extension of INEC's continuous voter registration exercise to obtain or update their permanent voter cards before the July 31st deadline. Chairman, Zamfara State Continuous Voters Registration and Mobilization Committee, who is also the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Nasiru Ma'azu Magaria, gave the advice while commenting on the extension of the exercise by 2 weeks. The committee chairman, in a statement by the Director General Public Relations Unit of the State Assembly, Nasiru Biabiki, said the 2 weeks extension remains a great opportunity for those who are yet to obtain or update their PVC to act fast to beat the closing date for the CVR. It further called on the local government committees to liaise with all relevant stakeholders in order to realize the set goals of ensuring all eligible persons in the state participated in the exercise. The CVR Mobilization Committee commended Governor Bello Muhammad for granting a work-free week to enable civil and public servants to partake in the exercise. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Yakubu Mekel, SAN, has emerged as the 31st president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA. Announcing the election results on Sunday, Chairman of the Electoral Committee of the NBA, Mr. Ayodele Akintunde, disclosed that out of a total of 59,392 records of eligible voters from the NBA database, 59,388 records were okayed to vote. Mekel polled a total of 22,342 votes to defeat his major challenger, Chief J.K. Gazama, SAN, who got 10,842 votes out of a total of 34,564 votes that were cast for the position. The third contender for the NBA top position, Mr. Taidi Gunu, garnered 1,380 votes, representing 4% of a total number of 34,554 votes that were cast for the position. Other national officers of the NBA that emerged from the election are Mrs. Linda Bala, first vice president of the association, Mr. Clement Ugo as second vice president, and Mrs. Amanda Demechi Asagba as the third vice president. 20 lawyers were equally elected as members of the NBA General Council to represent the Western, Eastern, and Northern zones. Meanwhile, a former chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association in Zamfara State, Bello Galadi, has recommended the establishment of a special court in the state to deal with banditry-related cases. Galadi gave the recommendation while speaking with Trust TV News in Gusau, the state capital, on the anti-banditry bill which was recently signed into law by Governor Bello Muhammad as part of security measures aimed at tackling the spate of attacks, killings, abduction and cattle rustling in Zamfara State. The report.
The former Zamfara NBA chairman described the anti-banditry law as a welcome development that will boost the ongoing war against banditry-related offences in the state. The banditry law stipulates death penalty for bandits, kidnappers, cultists and cattle rustlers, and 10 to 20 years sentence without option of fine for anyone aiding and abetting banditry-related activities. He, however, believes that for the law to be fully implemented, the state judiciary must be repositioned to expeditiously treat banditry-related cases and ensure quick dispensation of justice to the parties involved.
At the moment, there is an anti-banditry bill which has covered the aspect of informants, and it has provided for the death penalty for bandits and informants as well. It's a very nice development as far as I'm concerned. My only fear is that our government shouldn't relent. The issue of prosecution, because we have a very weak judicial system. we have a very corrupt society. We have a very corrupt system. So no matter how a person is being is being accused of an offense as such, to bring him to book, to mandate him to face the law is another thing altogether. So there has been a few arrests in the past.
The Zamfara former NBA chairman is not comfortable with the 4 special committees constituted by the state governor, Bello Muhammad, saying the committees have been politicized while members of the committees lack the knowledge and experience of intelligence gathering and prosecution.
Left to me, there should be a banditry commission where intelligence will be managed, so that before even you commit the offense, the government will have an idea as to who you are. The government will have an idea as to when you were trying to, when you were preparing to commit the offense, so that government will not be taken off balance. There should be proper intelligence for the government.
A journalist, Anas Anka, said the recent call for Zamfara citizens to bear arms by the governor is a clear indication that the security agencies have not been responsive enough in the fight against the bandits who have continued to kill innocent citizens on a daily basis in the state. Bello Galadi and Anas Anka, who both agree that having the anti-banditry law in place now is the best option, however, want the government to guarantee the implementation of the law in order to tackle banditry in the state.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. And still to come on the news, protests after newly introduced taxes in Anambra. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now, a recap of our top stories. President Buhari congratulates candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ademola Adeleke, over victory in Saturday's gubernatorial election in Osun. Former NBA chairman calls for special court to handle banditry cases in Zamfara. The Emir of Endo Tundaji Emirate in Zamfara State, Aliyu Marafa, on Saturday, turbaned repentant notorious bandit leader Ado Aliru as the Serikin Fulani after securing the approval of the state government. The turbaning ceremony, which was said to have been suspended by the Zamfara state government as a result of public outrage on social media, later held on Saturday, 16th July 2022 at about 3 p.m. at Endo town, the headquarters of the newly created emirate in the state. A resident of the community told Trust TV News that the state government later approved and urged the emir to go ahead with the turbaning ceremony. Some locals said the conferment of the traditional title Serikin Fulani Endo Tundaji to the once notorious bandit leader was because of his efforts to get the bandits to stop attacking the communities in the area. They also stated that the installation of Ado Aliru as the Serikin Fulani will give him more power to talk to the other bandits to embrace peace and refrain from terrorizing innocent people in the state. People's Democratic Party (PDP) Councillors Forum from Southern Kaduna Senatorial District has lamented the rising cases of insecurity in the area. The secretary of the forum, Zakaria Achi, at a press briefing in Kaduna, said terrorists have ransacked communities, raped women, killed and kidnapped some, and left several others homeless. The report.
Southern Kaduna is an area that has suffered communal clashes, banditry attack, kidnapping and other security challenges. The Forum of Councillors from the area said insecurity coupled with a delay in basic infrastructure have hindered development in the area.
We need to remind you that the Southern Kaduna, just like other zones in Kaduna State, has been on the wrong side of news, owing to the criminal activities of terrorists. These terrorists have ransacked our villages, raped our women, killed and kidnapped our brethren. Our zone is also suffering from infrastructural decay, owing to government's negligence. We are suffering from lack of roads, lack of electricity, lack of healthcare facilities and industries. 6.
The forum also affirmed the PDP primary election conducted in the area, noting that the zone needs a representative at the National Assembly that will make the zone better and rekindle the hope of the people in the area.
We accept the decision of the delegates as the will of God, and therefore appeal to members of our party to remain united and ensure the party's victory in all elective positions in the forthcoming general elections. We need a stabilizer in Southern Kaduna, someone who can wash away the anguish of our people after years of hopelessness and despair. Someone who can rekindle the hope of our IDPs, students, farmers, and our ravaged communities.
The forum further called on the PDP aspirant in the zone who did not scale the primaries to join hand with the party to ensure the success of the party in the 2023 election.
APC, by embarking on having Muslim ticket in their flag, shows that they are not willing to unite the people. Just like you said, Nigeria is a complex state and is a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state. Kaduna State is a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state.
In another development, a PDP group from the Southern Kaduna at a stakeholders meeting kicked against a Muslim governorship ticket in the state. The group from the Southern Kaduna appealed to all stakeholders of the party to pool resources together to ensure the success of the party at the poll.
Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has directed all security agencies to expedite action in rescuing kidnapped persons, saying his administration is leaving no stone unturned in arresting the security situation in the state. The governor made this known through the secretary to the state government, Ahmed Ibrahim Matani, during a sympathy visit to General Idris Garba, whose family members were kidnapped in the Abuja-Kaduna terrorist train attack. Idris Garba was former governor of Benue and Kano states and the chairman, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University, Lapai Governing Council. His son, Abubakar Idris Garba, his wife, Mariam Bobo, and his 4 children were abducted from the train during the incident. The governor lamented the incessant insecurity in the state, where several people had been maimed and killed, with many others abducted. On the Abuja-Kaduna train attack by bandits, Bello said the incident marks another sad moment in the fight against terrorism in the country and appeals to the families of Wazirin Lapai and other families whose loved ones were abducted to have confidence in the ability of the government to do all that is needed to be done in rescuing their dear ones. Meanwhile, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a 27-year-old drug queen, Mrs. Opola Mujidat, for planting drugs concealed in fetish bowls in 2 Oman-bound male passengers at the departure hall of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. The passengers, Raji Babatunde Kazim and Akimbobola Omoni, were traveling together to Oman on Ethiopian Airlines flight on Monday, the 11th of July, when they were intercepted by NDLEA operatives at the airport. Now here's more on the activities of the agency in the last 1 week.
A search of their luggage revealed wraps of cannabis sativa hidden in bowls of native black soap and sponge packed into a bag containing food items, which Kazim was carrying. Both Kazim and Omoni immediately alerted the anti-narcotic officers that Mujidat, who was still within the vicinity, gave the bag containing the illicit substance to them at the airport. She confessed to the crime and stated that she brought the luggage for the 2 passengers to give to her husband in Oman. In Nasarawa State, NDLEA operative intercepted over 91 jumbo bags of cannabis weighing 1.295 kilograms concealed in a truck-mounted natural gas tank by Doma Road around 500 Housing Estate in Lafia. A 52-year-old suspect, Ernest Ojihe, was arrested in connection with the seizure on Saturday, 9th July. In Kaduna and Nasarawa, over 500,000 of pills of pharmaceutical opioids were seized and suspects arrested in raid operations across the 2 states. In Kaduna alone, 2,941 pills of tramadol and diazepam were seized from Shaban Nasir, Aminu Usman and Shamsuddin Hussaini along Abuja-Kaduna Express Road, as well as Saidu Yahya and Umar Abubakar during a follow-up operation in Kano, all on Friday, 15th July 2022. In the same vein, over 2,700 different grades of tramadol tablets were seized during the raid of a patent medicine store at Sabon Layi, close to Mubi Main Market, Mubi North Local Government Area, Adamawa State, on Sunday, 3rd July. While commending the officers and men of the MMIA, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and Adamawa commands for the arrest schedules, their dexterity, Chairman Chief Executive Officer NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, in a statement signed by the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, warned drug cartels that no matter the iniquity of their modes of concealment, the delicate workforce of the agency will always expose them and their tricks.
The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has called on the federal government to pay the salaries of striking workers. The request for the payment of the workers is one of the 2 demands the top labour union made in a statement on Sunday, 5 months after the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities began. Other unions in public universities have since commenced industrial action, strengthening the ASU strike, which started on February 14th, disrupting the education of millions of Nigerian students. In the statement signed by its president, Ayuba Waba, the NLC demanded the federal government should immediately conclude the ongoing negotiation with trade unions in Nigeria's universities and be prepared to commence implementation of whatever collective bargaining agreement arising therefrom, so that public universities in Nigeria can resume normal activities. Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo has appealed to tricycle riders and commercial taxi drivers to cooperate with his administration for the good of the state. This comes following the protest by tricycle riders and commercial taxi drivers over the newly introduced taxes by the state government. Commissioner for Transportation Patricia Ikwebuki, who represented the governor, made the appeal while addressing journalists on the development at the State Government House, Oka. The commissioner assured the protesters that their taxes and those of other business operating in the state will be used to secure and develop the state. Anambra State government had, after a consultative meeting with market leaders and commercial tricycle operators on the 29th of June 2022, approved a new tax rate for transport sectors in the state, which increased the monthly tax for motorcycle operators to 15,000 naira and 25,000 naira for taxi drivers.
They understand that on a daily basis they pay more. They understand that this is change, but they are resisting it. And we have been transparent with them. We have consistently engaged them. The average keke person in Anambra State pays close to 2,000 naira on a daily basis. And you times it by 30 days. You know what that comes into.
Government is doing this, number one, to ensure that we create a livable and prosperous homeland. So livable on one side, it ensures ensuring that the issues around touting, around harassments and intimidation is handled. Now, prosperous in the sense that we start to generate the kind of revenue that would make Anambra State viable.
As we've seen this past few days, I want to attribute because of enough lack of information, and that we have a responsibility to do. Moving forward, we will now continue to shred this information, break it down, so that our people will understand it.
There's no increment whatsoever, that's for sure. The fees remains the same. So whatever information that you've heard is false.
Nigeria's oil production crashed by about 14.94 million barrels in the second quarter of this year, according to data obtained from the latest monthly oil market report of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries for June 2022. In OPEC's crude oil production data based on the direct communication from its 13 member nations, the organization stated that in the first quarter of this year, Nigeria produced 1.299 million barrels of oil per day. But this dropped to 1.133 million barrels per day in the second quarter, indicating a plunge of 166,000 barrels per day. The federal government, as well as operators in the oil sector, have repeatedly decried the plunge in Nigeria's oil production, as they often attribute it to acts of vandalism by oil thieves. You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's still News Hour on Trust TV. Now, Serbia's Defense Minister, Nebojša Stefanović, on Sunday confirmed that all 8 crew members of a cargo plane that crashed near the Greek city of Kavala died in the accident. Stefanović said the Ukrainian-operated Antonov AN-12 was carrying mines and around 11 tons of weapons to Bangladesh when it crashed on Saturday night. The plane had taken off from Niš airport in Serbia at around 8:40 p.m. on Saturday, carrying weapons owned by private Serbian company Valir. Greek rescue services are using a drone on Sunday to monitor the wreckage of the aircraft as fears about the toxicity of the cargo were forcing them to keep at a distance. And the head of Russia's National Defense Control Center says nearly 30,000 people, including more than 5,000 children, have been evacuated from Ukraine to Russia over the past day without the participation of Ukrainian authorities. This comes as Russia is preparing for the next stage of its offensive in Ukraine. The British Ministry of Defense has said that Russia is reinforcing its defensive positions across areas it occupies in southern Ukraine. The reinforcements include movement of manpower and equipment, defensive stores between Mariupol and Zaporizhia, and in Kherson, while Russian forces in Melitopol are also increasing security measures, the ministry wrote on Twitter in a regular bulletin. And now to sports and the NBA in particular, where Cole Swider scored a team-high 16 points to lead the Los Angeles Lakers to a 95-84 victory over the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA 2023 Summer League on Saturday at the Thomas & Mack Center. The Lakers jumped out to a great start with a 26-16 lead in the first quarter. They kept the pressure on the second and added another 10 points to their advantage, making it a 20-point game by halftime. The Mavs brought a better effort in the third quarter and managed to trim the deficit to 13 heading into the final frame. They kept up the fight in the fourth, but it was too little too late as the Lakers held on for the win. In addition to Swider, 3 other players scored double digits for the Lakers, including Jay Huff, who totaled 13 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists and 3 blocks, and a steal. Javante McCoy added 12 points, while Scottie Pepper Jr. scored 11 points. And now we'll join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports news.
The insistence of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development on stricter anti-doping measures and the increase in the number of testings by the National Anti-Doping Agency, NADA, has earned Nigeria the commendation of the Athletic Integrity Unit, AIU. AIU is a special unit created by an international athletics body to oversee all issues relating to doping control among members. Nigeria is placed in Category A, the lowest ranking of federations, with athletes from countries in this category mandated to have at least 3 out of competition testings. Each of the tests is expected to take place 3 weeks apart within the 10 months leading to a major international event like the Olympic Games and the World Championships. At the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, 10 out of Nigeria's 23 athletes were barred from competing owing to their failure to meet this AIU requirement that came into force in January 2019. However, all 25 Nigerian athletes registered for the ongoing 2022 World Athletics Championship in Eugene, Oregon, United States of America, were cleared to participate, having met the requirement. With a few weeks to the commencement of the WAFL B Women Championship League qualifiers, all seemed not to be well in the camp of Bayelsa Queens, according to BSN Sports. Bayelsa Queens emerged winner of the 2022 Nigeria Women Football League after they came top in the Super 6 competition played in Benin City, Edo State. Their head coach, Moses Aduku, was praised for the way he led the team to the trophy without dropping points or losing a game. Reports from Yenogwa, Aduku has decided to part ways with the champions. Although his reasons are yet to be made known, Aduku has decided to join Edo Queens ahead of the new season that will soon kick off.
Wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a lovely evening.